The Himalayan mountains are one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. At extreme altitudes, the air is thin, the temperatures are freezing, and you are hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest human settlement. Tucked away at nearly 5,000 meters is Roopkund. For most of the year, it sits frozen and quiet, but every summer, as the glacial ice slowly thaws, the clear water reveals something hiding just beneath the surface. In 1942, a British forest ranger patrolling the area discovered a massive collection of human bones. He found the remains of up to 800 individuals scattered along the edges of this remote glacial lake. Because this discovery occurred during World War II, British authorities suspected an invasion. They theorized these were the remains of Japanese soldiers who had died trying to sneak across the Himalayas into India. That idea fell apart once investigators reached the site. There was no military equipment. There were no weapons. And the bones were clearly ancient. Without a battlefield or a nearby village to explain the bodies, researchers were left with a mass grave situated in a geographic vacuum. For generations, local villagers shared a story about King Jastaval of Kanauch. According to folklore, the king took his royal court on a loud, festive pilgrimage through the mountains, angering the mountain goddess Nanda Devi by disrespecting her sacred space. To punish their arrogance, the goddess supposedly unleashed a storm of iron balls from the sky, wiping out the entire royal procession on the spot. Decades later, modern science tested that myth. Archaeologists excavated the site and subjected the remains to forensic analysis and carbon dating. They found a highly unusual pattern of trauma. The skeletons had no broken arms from defending themselves, and no sword wounds. Instead, nearly every skull had a deep, perfectly rounded fracture right on the crown. Those injuries match the impact of an intense, high-altitude hailstorm. In this part of the mountains, hailstones can grow to the size of cricket balls. Without trees or caves nearby, a group of travelers would have had zero protection against a sudden barrage. The physical evidence aligned with the local folklore. The oral tradition of a goddess throwing iron from the sky was an accurate record of a lethal natural disaster. In 2019, geneticists at Harvard University ran a DNA study to map out the familial ties of this doomed royal procession. This data visualization charts their findings. The genetic material does not clump into a single local family. Instead, the data splits into two distinct geographic groups. While most victims traced ancestry to South Asia, a second population shared markers with people from the Eastern Mediterranean. Specifically, their DNA matched the inhabitants of Crete, an island off the coast of Greece, thousands of miles away from the Himalayas. Carbon dating added another unexpected detail to the timeline. These diverse groups of people had not died together in one storm. The remains were deposited in separate events, spaced nearly 1,000 years apart. The genetic data indicates that Roopkund was a site of recurring tragedy, drawing different populations over a 1,000-year span. This leaves us with a difficult question. Why would multiple generations of unrelated cultures repeatedly hike deep into a freezing, isolated death zone? For the South Asian group, the answer likely involves an established Hindu pilgrimage to the mountain shrines of Nanda Devi. Travelers still follow these paths through the snow today. But the presence of individuals from the Mediterranean remains unexplained. They might have been merchants trading along ancient routes, early explorers charting the peaks, or foreigners who participated in a local religion. Regardless of their origins, Roopkund Lake functioned as a chronological trap. Over hundreds of years, distinct groups of travelers arrived at the same remote basin and fell victim to the same brutal weather conditions. Science successfully identified the cause of death, but the discovery of diverse travelers spanning a millennium leaves a different question. What unyielding drive led them all to this same isolated height?